Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Philip Miller, the Adventure Zombie, and this is a very low-tech version of the channel. I don't have any of my camera equipment anymore, so it's literally going to be just me talking to the phone. No microphones, no fancy GoPros, none of that. So sorry if you guys can't hear me. I will try to speak up and speak clearly. But today we're gonna talk all dogs off-road, both their springs and their company. We're going to be talking Koni suspension, and we're also going to be going over, more or less doing a walk around on my new 2018 Nissan Frontier. So come on guys, let's get into it. Honestly, I wish I still had my GoPro and stuff, because I would be taking shots with this suspension off-road with the camera clamped to the undercarriage, just to show like how nice the suspension actually is. But you know, it's gonna have to suffice to just stand here and talk about it, and maybe show some shots from inside the cab while I'm driving. So anyway, as you can see, I got the Koni shocks here on the bottom. Those are the Koni 90 Raid Series shocks. I found them to be very forgiving, I guess you could say, in off-road situations. You know, they pretty much have taken every bump that I've thrown at them, and I've driven pretty quickly off-road, potholes, stuff like that. No major obstacles yet, but these things have been doing absolutely fantastic. And then I got the all dogs off-road heavy load springs, and that's because I have this Ironman 4x4 front bumper on my truck. This actually came on my truck, and it's been modified to fit a Frontier. It's not actually meant for a Frontier. I think it's meant for maybe a Navara, a Nissan Navara, or maybe a Toyota Tacoma. But yeah, it's been adapted to fit this, and so I couldn't really speak as to what it was meant for, or really how they did the modification versus, or other than just like showing the bracket that they welded up, you know. I don't actually know the process. Anyway, so I'm running these heavy load springs because I have this big bumper and 9,500 pound winch in the front, and I just wanted to be able to support that when I was driving off-road. Didn't want to feel like the front end was sinking, stuff like that. And so far it's been absolutely fantastic. Oh, one caveat, I have thrown in the all dogs off-road half-inch spacers, top hat spacers for the front end, and that was just because I wanted a more leveled look, and those were able to accomplish that for me. I got these all dogs off-road parabolic leaf springs in the back end, mostly because I always keep weight in the back of my truck. I have my gear and just my normal living stuff I keep in crates in the back. And so having these springs is great for keeping a load in the back end. Plus, these can actually hold more weight than the multi-leaf elliptical, like this normal style of leaf spring that people are used to seeing. These are the parabolic. As you can see, the leaves thicken towards the middle, and that gives a much smoother ride, hauls more weight, they're lighter, and all that comes together to make a pretty cool spring, and it's really nice riding off-road. So one thing that I completely kind of spaced was my all dogs off-road high travel upper control arms. So these actually have Frontier bushings where it mounts to the frame, and a Titan ball joint here in the end. And that way, if there was ever issue with these while you're out off-roading or whatever, they can be picked up from any auto parts store, which is awesome. Also has a grease zert in the top, if you can see that, for lubing this ball joint up. Whereas I ran the Ironman Foam Cell Pro Stage 2 kit, and that came with upper control arms. They were supposed to be high travel, but I was getting coil bucket contact pretty much every time I would go off-roading. So far, zero contact with these. You know, it's All Dogs Off-Road really did their research. They got the angles right, they got the dimensions right. You know, it's this is the product I was looking for. So, doing a bit of walk around here. As I mentioned, the Ironman 4x4 bumper on the front. I also put a Ironman 4x4 9,500 pound winch in there, you can see. So far that's been great. I've only really had to use it once. Well, I didn't really even have to use it. I was just spooling the winch tighter. Helps protect the rope and whatnot. So I've been using this thing primarily as like my primary living quarters, more or less. I keep all my gear in the back, tent and stuff like that. I have a Gazelle T3X tent. I take it out camping and travel all the time. And so this has been kind of a motorhome, more or less. So I've only just started getting into doing some off-road modifications here. You can see these rock sliders. I just fabbed these up for the truck. These turned out pretty great. They kind of veered off from my original design, but I like the fact that they can be used as a step as well. I have a 3/16 inch thick sidewall 2x2 square tubing there, and then 1.5 by 2 inch rectangle tubing that was 1/8 inch wall, and I use that for my supports, my step, and underneath here you can see my brackets. Bolted them to the frame, and in these forward positions I have just an L bracket at a 1/4 inch steel, and I did a tube that will go through the frame with a plate on the back, and that's to support any lateral load on there. I figure most of the load is going to be putting on the head and the nut of the bolt. So with that tube going through the frame, you know, that should help support it and won't tweak the frame or anything. Shouldn't, anyway. Let's see. The back, you know, I just got my canopy back here, and that holds all my stuff. I really like all the dark tint on these windows. I can have my stuff in there and you basically can't see anything inside. You know, it's a sunny day and all you can see is my reflection. It's kind of nice. All Dogs Off-Road, heck yeah. And I put a recovery hitch on here. That's from Ironman. I took the shackle out of there because I'm gonna match my shackle to my suspension because I'm a goober like that. Other than that, this thing has been pretty solid. So I'll throw in some shots now. We'll talk about driving it on road and driving it off road, and we'll talk a little bit more about the suspension. The on-road feel of the suspension kit is really nice. It's very buttery when you're just driving it on the pavement and you're hitting just little bumps and whatever. But when you hit the corners, especially if you're traveling at the recommended speed for the corner, there's almost no body roll. And so in some circumstances, the suspension feels very soft, but in other circumstances, it feels very firm. And I would attribute that to the combination of the All Dogs springs. I got the heavy springs in the back and the Parabolic springs for the rear and the Koni shocks. The pairing of the two has turned this thing night and day difference. It felt a lot like a work truck or a farm truck or something like that with the Ironman kit on it. But now that I have this the All Dogs kit with the Koni shocks, I'm really impressed with how it feels, and I wouldn't go back. You know, it's great on the road, and I feel like it's even better off-road. So if you guys are looking for a kit, this is definitely one that you'll want to check out. So right now I'm traveling down a service road. It's washboarded quite a bit. Sorry for the bouncy camera. I have a really cheap mount on the dash. But I wanted to show this specifically. You know, with my Ironman kit, I would have been like rattling with the truck. And now the truck is moving, but it's more like you're moving with the truck instead of being rattled out of the truck. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge difference from the way it used to be driving on these gravel service roads. I can't say enough great things about this suspension. You know, it really smooths things out and makes roads like this a lot more tolerable to drive down. Okay, so this is a section that I want to show for the off-roading bit. It's got some pretty good ruts going up. Kind of hard to tell, but it's got some pretty good ruts going up, and it's pretty bumpy. Camera always flattens things out, but this is a good, I don't know, probably 15% grade with ruts, and they're not straight at all. They've been washed out, so let's give it a shot. I'm pretty confident with driving up here, so I'm just going to go ahead and hold the camera while I do this, and hopefully that gives you guys an idea of how well this thing handles. This is, as I said, not a great road, and the ruts are not straight at all. They've been washed out from rain. But you know what? It used to feel like, you know, you drive the truck off road and it was just like, oh God, I hate driving the truck off road. You know, it was super uncomfortable. And now I take my truck off road and it is fun. It's comfortable. I want to do it more often. You know, it's a weird comparison, but I want to say it's a lot like my Subaru Crosstrek used to be. That was all built out for off-roading, and it was so cushy off-road. You know, I was hoping that's what I was going to get with a pickup, but with the stock suspension and then going to the Ironman kit, it just wasn't what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. Great feel off-road, great feel on-road. You know, this is a rough road. This is a very rough road. And it just does it, you know? No problem. Not only does it, you know, do it capable wise, but also comfortably, you know, and I think that's a big thing when you're off-roading. You know, it's, if you can be comfortable while you're off-roading, that's everything. The other thing I wanted to add is I'm almost always aired down whenever I hit gravel even, just because with my previous kit, you know, it was rattling you all the time. And so I would air down to 15 PSI as soon as my tires would leave the pavement. I haven't aired down since I got the new kit on. It's fantastic. Do a little bit of a speed test. So I'm currently traveling at 30 down this service road, and it's really hugging the corners nicely. taking all the bumps out. All right, that's enough of that. This is an active road, so I can't screw around too much. All right, guys, real quick, I did mention that I wanted to talk about All Dogs Off-Road as a company. And honestly, coming from a customer service background, I've done customer service jobs, I mean, tons of them. And I really pride myself in good customer service, and I really like companies that deliver good customer service. And so I emailed Chad pretty much just with an idea. You know, I wanted some sort of extended travel or high travel kit, and he emailed me back and he said, you know, why don't you give me a call, we can chat and we can figure out exactly what you need. And so I gave him a call later that afternoon. He emailed me right away, by the way. I gave him a call later that afternoon. He was the one who answered the phone, and we talked for probably 30 minutes talking about different kits. We originally were talking a Titan swap, but after we had kind of molded over and I thought about what my uses were going to be for the truck, it seemed like the All Dogs Off-Road springs with the Koni shocks were going to be the best option for me. And it's been nice. You know, I've been able to reach out to Chad with any weird or stupid question that I have, and he's answered it promptly and, you know, given me more information than I needed and really set me up for success when I do future upgrades, you know, for suspension or whatever. So I really want to say thank you to All Dogs Off-Road. And I want to say thank you to Chad. You guys have been awesome. Thank you guys in the shipping department for getting that out quick. I got it early in the morning and I got the kit installed that day, and I've been just thrilled about it ever since. So if you guys are looking for a suspension kit and you especially want a company that's going to take care of you, check out All Dogs Off-Road. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.